Hey guys, it's Chris. Today we're going to be talking about dolly versus flat towing. Now obviously we're the flat towing guys, so you kind of know where we stand, but we never really talk about the differences between these two. And there's a good chance if you've been RVing for a while that you have a preference between dolly versus flat, and you probably feel very strongly about it as a matter of fact. But there's a lot of folks out there who are maybe new to flat towing and don't know which way to go, or maybe you're switching a towed vehicle and you want to try something different. Maybe you've been doing one and you want to try the other. So this video is more geared for those folks who maybe aren't sure and are trying to decide. So we're going to look at the pros and the cons of both dolly towing and flat towing. So first off, the pros. What are the benefits for both of these systems? We'll start with dolly towing. So for dolly towing, the big benefit is going to be that it's less expensive typically. Now obviously there's Cadillac versions of, and I don't mean Cadillac the car brand, but the Cadillac high-end versions of dollies that can be very expensive, but by and large, they're going to be cheaper than what you would find in a flat towing setup, just because there's so many more things that you have to purchase in order to get a car flat towable. So dolly towing tends to be less expensive. The other part to it as well is that you don't have to modify your towed vehicle when you're dolly towing. So for a lot of setups with flat towing, you will have to add something like a battery charger or a dedicated outlet for a brake, things like that. With dolly towing, you don't have any of that. You just drive your car up onto the dolly and you're done. The setup is a lot more complicated than that, but you don't have to do any modification in order to accomplish it. So those are the pros of dolly towing. The pros of flat towing, first off, you have a lot more freedom and flexibility. It's a lot easier to unhook and hook up to a tow bar than it is to get up and off a dolly. It's an easier process. It's a lot less of a headache. It just is really easy. Tow bar manufacturers make it so simple nowadays to hook up. You can do it in 2 minutes and you're done. It's really, really quite simple. So that's a great benefit of it. The other big benefit is that you can tow a wider variety of cars when you're flat towing. A lot of dollies have weight restrictions, usually in the 3,000 to 3,500 range as far as pounds. And obviously that does cover a good number of cars, but with how many things are being added to cars these days, how much they weigh, it does limit your options. You can't tow larger trucks, you can't tow larger SUVs. You're really stuck to some of the really compact cars like Fiats and smart cars, minis, that kind of thing. And that may be fine for you, maybe that's what you're looking for. But for a lot of folks who want to tow something that they have a little bit more room in, it's gonna be harder to fit that under the weight restriction of a dolly, whereas with flat towing, you're really not restricted by anything other than the size and stopping distance of your motorhome, which almost any motorhome is going to be able to stop any towed vehicle. So you're covered there. So what about the cons of both these systems? Well, it's really just the pros in reverse for both of these two different ways of towing. Again, for flat towing, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. You have to consider things like battery chargers. You'll definitely need a braking system by law. So there's other things you have to consider buying when you're going to flat tow. You will also, again, have to modify your towed vehicle a little bit more than likely. So what about dolly towing? Well, again, going back to our pros, the reverse of that is that for dolly towing, you're going to be a little bit more limited. You're going to have less freedom as to what car you can choose to flat tow. You're also going to have a more complicated setup process. It is a little bit harder getting your car up onto a dolly and off a dolly than just unhooking a tow bar. So the setup process when you go to tow and when you go to disconnect is going to be more complex. The one thing we haven't really looked at yet that's also a very important consideration is wear and tear. This is a big downside to dolly towing. It will create more wear and tear on your towed vehicle. First of all, you have wear and tear that's uneven on your tires just based on the fact that 2 are on the ground and 2 are elevated. You're going to get uneven wear and tear, and it's going to create drivability issues. But the other part to it is just the very action of getting your car up on the dolly and off the dolly is going to create wear and tear on your vehicle as well. So that's a big con to dolly towing that's not present with flat towing. You just hook up, you've got even wear on your tires, and hooking up and disconnecting from a tow bar doesn't really, it's not a complicated process, and it really doesn't add any wear and tear to your vehicle whatsoever. So it's a really important thing to consider. So obviously in totality, you know where we stand. We love flat towing, just the freedom that's afforded. Again, that wear and tear issue is huge. We just love the fact that it allows you to travel with complete freedom and allows you to preserve your towed vehicle for as long as possible. So for those reasons, again, we're big fans of flat towing, but dolly towing certainly has its merits. We'd love to hear what you guys think if you're fans of one or the other. If you've got any questions on any part of this process though, or any of our products, we're happy to help. You can reach out to us via phone, chat, or email. And in the meantime, guys, happy RVing. Hey guys, thanks again for joining us. We can't wait for you to dive in a little bit deeper on this channel. We've got tons of other great videos on products, stories, tips and tricks for when you're on the road. Before you go check those out though, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video. It may sound a little cliche, but it actually really does help us here on the YouTube side of things to make sure that we can continue to provide this kind of content for you. So if you've got any questions at all, never hesitate to reach out. We always love hearing from you. Guys, in the meantime, happy RVing.